Hi, this is Brian Tarbert with TCS, and welcome to this Ubiquity Tech Tip video providing you with an overview of the Ubiquistat programming page. So in this video, we'll show you how to access programming as well as a review of all the programming functions you can perform through Ubiquity. Subsequent videos will take a detailed look at quite a number of the specific programming functions on this page and how they'll work. So to get started from the site home page, you can either access programming by clicking on the Controllers tab or going right to the controller you want to look at and clicking on that. And then right from there, you'll be able to click on the Program button. And right now, we're going to use this 4050, the Ubiquistat 4050, as our template here. It has the highest level of functionality of our Ubiquistat line and therefore covers all the capabilities of the other stats, the US 4010, 4020, 4040. So we'll begin by clicking the Program button. Now the program page is brought up as a single web page with different functions and applications logically grouped together. So let's start at the top of the page and work our way down. So here you have a section with points alarms. So any alarms that were created, you're going to get basically a summary of those alarms here, what their severity is, if they have qualifiers. Assigned assets, this is where you can, and some people do, some people don't, store whatever assets that are being controlled by this controller. So if you've got a train RTU or a York or something like that, you can put that information right here as well. The schedule, which we went over in detail in our scheduling videos that we did, is right in this section. And you can see we've got an A schedule assigned with no B, C, or D schedule assigned here. The controller summary just gives us basic information about the controller name, where it's located, the type, address, that type of thing, some basic information. The Ubiquity specific functions is just one simple thing right now. It's the Ubiquity setpoint adjustment. So this is the ability to adjust the setpoint temporarily through Ubiquity, not to be confused with changing the setpoint on the controller itself that's in the building. Under controller points, these are all the different points that are brought up to Ubiquity through the thermostat that is in place. So this 4050, these are all of the monitored and trended points that we have available to us. And we can click on this to rename those points, hide points that you're not using. If you're not using the second analog output, for example, you can hide it. It won't show up on your monitoring page. The system and setpoint section, which is a fairly lengthy section, has a lot of information in it. User setpoint adjust, how to set that up, and that is the user setpoint adjust that is actually at the thermostat itself. Heating and cooling setpoint groups, the smart recovery, enabling that, changing the recovery rate, setting up the system mode, whether it's a conventional or a heat pump stat, and other functionality down here as well. Then we've got the analog inputs, and this is where you can set up, for example, if you need to calibrate any of the sensors that are remote, you can do that here and set up your analog inputs as far as that goes. For example, which one of these you're assigning for carbon dioxide input, what you're assigning for humidity input, all of that is programmed right in here. And then scrolling down, we have the digital inputs divided out. So these are typically used for monitored devices, fan-proving switches, compressor-proving switches, that type of thing that you can use to monitor different stuff. And you can kind of use your imagination. And you can see there's quite a different selection of monitoring choices that you can make here on the digital inputs. On the digital outputs, this is where you're programming those. So for example, you're enabling the stages of heating or cooling here. You're setting up the offsets and differentials, delays on the next stage enabling, the minimum on and minimum off times, all set right there as well. And then underneath that is the fan status for both occupied and unoccupied mode. If you're going to enable P plus I on the output relays, if you're going to have a reversing valve programmed for this, all of our Ubiquistat models can control a reversing valve as well. And if you're going to be using the time clock output to control an external relay. All right there. The next section is the analog outputs. Now in this particular stat, we've got two analog outputs. Some of our stats have one, some none, but this one has two. Like I said, it has all the bells and whistles. So this is where you can set up that analog output. So you can tell it what you want it to do. Is it a heat cool? Is it a damper? You can set this up for economizer, set this up for a hot or chilled water valve, for a zone damper. All of that is set up in this functionality. And that again, this is fairly detailed, and we'll go through this in another video where we'll really take a deep dive into the details of programming the analog outputs. And then finally are the additional functions, which include the time clock setup, override status, occupancy status, and then the additional functions, which are basically display options on the Ubiquistat itself. And then at the end here, we have a comment section. So this is used quite a bit by the service contractors who are servicing a piece of equipment. They want to make a note on it, when they did the service, what they did, so they've got it for a future reference, or another tech would have it for a reference as well. Here at the bottom is a submit button. So any change that you would make, you would submit that, and then that would be go down to the Ubiquistat on its next polling cycle. You can cancel this. You can do global changes from here, and you can also read the controller. Again, all these things will be talked about in greater detail on subsequent videos. So, thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our TCS YouTube channel. And remember to check back for more in-depth tech tip programming and other videos.